A bullet fired from a rifle can streak faster than the speed of sound. The crack of a whip is the sound barrier being broken. But no airplane in level flight, no human, had ever moved that fast. Pilots, including Chuck Yeager, knew of those times when speeds in a dive can reach supersonic levels, when air molecules just can't get out of the way of an aircraft fast enough, when planes vibrate violently, windshields and instruments shatter, and pilots lose control. Many flyers reasoned that the sound barrier in level flight would never be broken. Yeager had tried and failed more than a dozen times. On this day, as he tries again, his X-1 seems ready to shake to pieces. Caution and experience should counsel him to throttle back. But at 43,000 feet, an altitude where flying faster than the speed of sound means flying faster than 659 miles per hour, Yeager ignites a third chamber of his engine. The X-1 accelerates rapidly. And on the ground, people hear a sudden thunder, a sonic boom. As Chuck Yeager breaks the sound barrier, becomes the fastest man alive, and launches the era of supersonic flight. The need to expand one's universe, to imagine and explore beyond the horizon, has propelled human development from the Bronze Age to this day. It may seem too great a stretch to place what might be dismissed as ordinary garden variety events into so grand a scheme of things. But such labors as ours affect not only lives close at hand, but countless lives and days never to be known, never to be seen. We are part of a long line of love, a connecting link in the Christian story between what was and what can be, what should be. This moment of ours had its most recent beginnings in the late 1950s with families named Anderson, Byers, Porter, Powers, Kennedy, Spence, Wheeler, Cook, and others. With no Episcopal church within easy reach of Ruskin, they won diocesan approval to create a mission. It was in October 1962 that the Reverend Haber Benjamin held the first service for the new mission of St. John the Divine at a funeral home in Ruskin. 22 people attended. Within 6 months, ground was broken on 5 acres of land where within 18 months a church would rise from soil where lilies had once grown. The mission would become a parish in 1973 with 96 members. A decade later, membership would approach 400. As the 1980s neared an end, a gleaming white steeple was put in place, announcing a major expansion of church space, including offices, a nursery, and Sunday school. But the new space couldn't keep up with an ever-growing need for more. With expansion options in Ruskin exhausted, planning began to build a new church, a larger church, on property that had become available in Sun City Center. And this new beginning task was taken up in December of 2001 by St. John the Divine's new rector, the Reverend Tracy Wilder.
God has plans for all of us. He needs our time, our efforts, our talents, our financial resources, even our weakness and brokenness. God needs all of us. And I know that if we give Him who we are, He will be faithful to take what we give, bless it, and multiply it to nurture and bless many people in ways we can hardly begin to imagine.
In the time between purchasing the property in 2002 and groundbreaking in 2008, market value for the Ruskin property went down. Construction costs went up. So did the size and carrying cost of the new mortgage. This forced a change of plans. Build a smaller church in Sun City Center and keep the Ruskin campus for one service per Sunday and to house the Lord's Lighthouse. The concept of one church, 2 campuses was daring and supported by a valiant effort. But over time, it worsened financial prospects, created a sense of separation, and undermined efforts to sustain and grow parish ministries. In August 2012, Father Tracy's weakening health was diagnosed as leukemia. He could no longer carry on with his duties. That brought to St. John the Divine the recently retired Father Lee Miller to join Father Harry Benter, also retired, whose service with the parish began in 1996. They would be joined by the Reverend Deacon Paulette Carney, sponsored in 2015 by St. John the Divine's new and current rector, Father Kevin Warner. Father Kevin began his new ministry in Sun City Center on September 1st, 2014, 1 month after the Ruskin campus was closed and a few months before its sale by year's end. Half the proceeds from the Ruskin sale was applied to the current mortgage, with the balance held for the newly formed Task Force for Growth. With input from the congregation, the task force was commissioned to determine how best to preserve the parish mission and expand its reach. Since then, there have been many initiatives and innovations, and long-standing ministries revitalized.
40 generations, roughly. That's how many generations from Moses to Jesus, and from Jesus to us. If you look at the history of God's people, you will see his love is the one constant throughout history. From his Hesed, steadfast love, with which he delivered and guided the people of the Old Covenant, to his agape, sacrificial love, that instituted the New Covenant. God has always loved his people. I believe he loved the founders of St. John the Divine a little over a generation ago. I believe his love guided us to our present location, and I believe he will lead us in our next steps. In the last 3 years, we have seen God's love deliver us with miracle after miracle. From a solution to the usurious loan that we were carrying to a manageable one, to increasing membership and financial stability, and even more importantly, new hope for the future. God is ever with us. The long line of love is unbroken. We will remember those who have come before us and God's continuing presence with us. We celebrate his continuing love for his church that is the people of St. John the Divine.